Something happened over Washington, D.C. No wreckage, no bodies, no last words, just gone. On a cold January evening, American Airlines Flight 5342 vanished from radar. A U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter fell from the sky. The Reagan National Control Tower fell silent for exactly 1 minute and 11 seconds. When communication returned, 67 souls were missing. No debris, no distress calls. Only a burned-out crater where the Earth itself looked like it had been peeled away. The official reports called it a mid-air collision. But how do two aircraft collide and leave nothing behind? How do voices of the dead keep calling? How does something not of this world leave its mark in black flame? And if Flight 5342 never crashed, where is it now? There are some stories that burrow under your skin, that stay with you long after you turn the last page. This is one of them. The sky took them, but something else was waiting. The black flame over D.C. January 30th, 2025, Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. had witnessed horror before, tragedies woven into the bones of history, written in the voices of the lost, but never like this. 6:17 p.m., American Airlines Flight 5342 ceased to exist. A U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter lost its claim to the sky. The Reagan National Airport control tower fell silent. Not a garbled signal, not interference, silence. For exactly 1 minute and 11 seconds, reality itself seemed to hesitate. When the voices of the living returned, 67 souls had vanished. There was no wreckage, no remains, no flight recorders humming their last confessions, just a charred, gaping wound in the earth, as if something had peeled open the skin of the world and taken what it wanted. And a sound no microphone could capture. A whisper that crawled beneath the skin, settling deep in the marrow. No one could say where it came from or why it never stopped. The last flight of Grace Maxwell. Grace Maxwell didn't believe in fate. She didn't believe in curses. She should have. The moment she stepped onto Flight 5342, the air felt wrong. Wrong in a way that words could never define. Like something waiting just beyond the edges of sight, just beyond the threshold of knowing. The fluorescent lights above her flickered, casting fractured shadows. Her boarding pass beeped, delayed, stuttering, as if the machine itself hesitated to let her through. And in the reflection of the terminal windows, she saw herself move, half a second too slow. She shivered. She boarded anyway. She took her seat near the back. Two other passengers mirrored her unease. Across the aisle, Vikesh Patel, a GE aerospace engineer, tapped his fingers against the armrest, an erratic rhythm, his eyes scanning the emergency exits like a man mapping his last escape route. Beside him, Elizabeth Ann Keyes, high-profile attorney, checked her watch. Again, and again, and again. 6:13 p.m. The first tremor hit at 6:14. Not a sharp jolt, not turbulence, a slow, deliberate push against the aircraft's belly. The air thickened. Breaths became effort. The hum started then. Grace didn't know if it came from the plane or from somewhere else. A low, resonant frequency that crawled into the bones, turning marrow to ice. It vibrated through the walls, the windows, the metal beneath her feet. Something massive, something unknowable, shifting beneath the surface of reality. A static-laced announcement crackled through the speakers. "This is your captain speaking. We are experiencing a minor technical issue. Please remain seated." Then silence. Then static. Then nothing. Someone hit the call button. No one answered. Passengers turned, their movements slow, dreamlike. The flight attendants were gone, not absent. Gone. The hum deepened, filling the world. Grace's vision darkened at the edges, tunneling her perception. Outside the window, movement. Not a plane, not a storm, a shape, a shadow, not cast by anything, not attached to anything, just there, moving alongside them, keeping pace, twisting and curling through the air like ink spilling through water. And then, a flame. A black flame. No flicker, no glow, not fire at all, but the absence of fire, the devouring of light. It spread over the wing, curling, reaching, pulling, screams, seats twisting, warping. Vikesh Patel's mouth opened in a scream, but no sound came. His body bent in ways no body should, skin rippling like something else was inside it. The darkness folded over him. Folded over everything. And then, the plane was gone. The Black Hawk incident. Captain Eric Sorensen had flown for 15 years. He had flown in war. He had seen things men were never meant to see. None of it mattered now. Flying above the Potomac, running a routine maneuver drill, the first disturbance came as a whisper in his headset. White noise. And then a voice. A woman's voice. Do you see it? Pain lanced through his skull. Beside him, Lieutenant Mark Holloway screamed, clawing at his headset. Blood dripped from his nose. Then, something moved in the sky. Not an aircraft, not a drone, a tear. As if the sky had split open, a gash in the fabric of the world, darkness licking at its edges like a living thing. The Black Hawk stopped moving. Not engine failure, not turbulence. Something had taken hold of it. Then the cockpit folded, not shattered, collapsed. Metal curled inward, glass compressed like wet paper. Sorensen turned to Holloway, ready to order the ejection. But Holloway was already gone. Not missing, gone. His flight suit still buckled in, his helmet still in place, no body inside. And then Sorensen disappeared too. Hacked impact and aftermath. First responders defined wreckage, bodies, flames. They found nothing. The impact site of Flight 5342 was too perfect. A circle burned into the earth, expressed as if something had pressed a finger into the dirt and erased what had been there. The Black Hawk wreckage was wrong. Metal twisted unnaturally, folded into grotesque spirals, as if it had melted and reshaped itself according to something else's will. The pilot's helmet sat upright in the center of the wreckage. The visor was uncracked. A blackened handprint burned into the plastic. No body. Sorensen had ceased to be. False hope and the curse of the black flame. The world moved on. It called it a malfunction, a collision, a freak accident. Then the calls began. At 3:33 a.m., Vikesh Patel's wife received a voicemail. A garbled voice. A voice barely human. He saw it. At 4:01 a.m., Elizabeth Key's apartment was found empty. Coffee still steaming, phone still charging. Security footage showed that her door never opened. At 5 a.m., a janitor at Reagan National Airport heard a transmission, an abandoned frequency. This is Flight 5342. We are experiencing. Then silence. Then nothing. Flight 5342 had never landed, but somewhere, lost in the endless black of the sky, a pilot was still speaking, still falling, and the black flame was still watching.